Okay, it's 3:30. I call the special meeting of the Metropolitan Library Commission. Maria, call roll.
Here. Here, here,
Here. So Maria, how many are here from the commission? So for our guests, welcome to all of you today. There are 27 commissioners, and for a quorum, it takes 14. So we're glad we welcome to our commissioners. Glad y'all are here today. Our host today is the Belle Library, and so representing them today is one of our regional directors, Risa Jensen-Jones.
Welcome, everybody, to the downtown library. The Belle Library is currently under construction. They are undergoing a renovation. So they are currently housed out of the temp location on Northwest Expressway at 74, between 74 and Portland. Across from what used to be the Buy for Less, but is now Pruitt's Foods, in case you haven't been there lately. The temp location is also currently closed. We are experiencing some AC difficulties. We're told that the new unit should be installed on the 20th. And during this time of closure, our staff has dispersed to various locations around the city. And we also did something for the first time with a library closure like this. We ended up moving all of the library's holds over to War Acres, and the War Acres staff actually contacted or attempted to contact everybody on that hold list to try to get them their holds while we were going to be closed. So we're pretty proud of that, and we're very thankful to War Acres. The new building is coming along great. If you haven't been by there, it's looking good. They've got some new stone up on the outside. They haven't put the glass up on the outside. That's what I'm really looking forward to. It's going to look so fantastic. We did take a tour last Thursday, so we did get to walk through, and we saw the old flooring that used to be in there when it was first put in. So this beautiful stone flooring that's been covered up for many years. And we're also finishing up the fabrics and finishings selections. So we're really excited. We're hearing that it should be finished around the end of December. So we'll see if we can hold to that and get back to our original location. So thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you, Risa. Okay, item 2.2, presentation of our service certificates. So we're recognizing 2 employees today. Edith Daniel, engagement manager from Bethany Library, 10 years, and Courtney Pollitt, library aide in Edmond for 5 years. Let's give them a big hand. Next on the agenda is our 2.3, comments by the public. We have a 15-minute max in our policy, and we have 10 people who have signed up to speak. So what I would like to do is have you line up when I call your name, line up at the microphone, and each of you get 90 seconds. Yeah, so I will stop you so that we can keep going on time. So if you'll line up in this order, Sarah, and I'm going by the order in which you signed up. So Sarah Cunningham, then Andrea Crouch, number 3, Nicole Poole, Khaki Porch, Aaron Edwards, Julie Dwyer, Leslie Wonder, Hannah Royce, David Nemapar, last but not least, number 10, Ryan Baker. Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Are you ready?
I'm ready. Go for it.
Hello, and thank you, everyone. My name is Sarah Cunningham. I'm a resident, born and raised in Oklahoma, and I'm married with 2 children. I have a gay son and a straight son, and I'm here today because I want to speak to the issue of the backlash that's been going on to the library in their Pride display last month. Have been brought to my attention, and I'd like to speak to that. Now, as a mother with a straight son and a gay son, I have learned that my straight son has more rights than my gay son. Currently, my gay son could be refused health care, housing, and even denied service in a public space. Conversion therapy is still legal, sought out, and paid for in this state, not far from here. And I would like to say that this is exactly why we need things like Edmond's mayor recently declared June to be a Pride month or a week in Edmond, and the library's display of Pride books last month. This is, education is the key, because I know and have seen the power of fear and ignorance and the power of love and education. So I implore the library to continue in that spirit.
Thank you.
I'm a former public school teacher. I taught in the Putnam City Public School system for 14 years. I stay home now to raise my 12-year-old daughter and 13-year-old son. I've been visiting the Bethany Library since 1978. That's a whopping 43 years. And now you know how old I am. My children and I have participated in the Children's Summer Reading Program for a decade. As is typical, at the end of May, we signed up to log our reading through the summer to achieve badges and prizes. Early this month, I was logging my daughter's reading when a pop-up appeared which congratulated her for logging during Pride Month. The pop-up encouraged her to check her local library for recommended reading by lesbian, bisexual, gay, transgender, and queer authors for all ages. As a former teacher with a master's degree in education and a mother committed to teaching my son and my daughter my values, I was shocked. I'm here today to express how troubled I am that the most vulnerable among us, our children, have been introduced to and enticed to read sexual materials through the children's reading program at the local library. You, the Metropolitan Library System of Oklahoma, have lost my respect, my support, and I wish and hope my money. Sexual matters and preferences in a moral-driven, principled culture such as ours are kept private, but you have given yourselves over to a highly funded social movement that pushes a very public, sexually explicit agenda, not only to the adult population, but to the children beginning in the 1st grade. I am not coming here to talk about my personal beliefs, but I'm coming to tell you that my values are not equally represented at the Metropolitan Library System.
Stop.
Because you failed to direct
Stop.
children to recommend reading
Ma'am,
for
your
all
time
ages
is
by
up.
heterosexual authors. You excluded my
Ma'am.
viewpoint and therefore are in danger, I'm about finished, in danger of violating constitutional principles. Thank you.
Could our sound booth kill the sound to that microphone when I say time, please? If the speaker hasn't stopped. Thank you. And just a reminder to our audience, this is a business meeting, so we'll refrain from any emotion. Thank you. Let me get going here again. Okay, you ready?
Yes, thank you. Hello, good afternoon. I'll try to refrain from emotion, but it is an emotional issue. As a taxpayer, a homeowner, as a business owner, as an artist, as a queer woman, I am grateful for the library's support of their role in being for all. The library's mission of connecting our diverse communities with resources and experience to educate and enrich lives is very important. Education expands our potential, as Einstein said. We cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. For myself personally, my sister, Alexis, was transgender, transitioned from my brother to my sister, Alexis, and died of AIDS in 1993. While my mother was caring for her, she was picketed by people who were intolerant and were intent on keeping us in shame. To see Oklahoma City at this moment support Pride, support non-traditional communities, no political party can be the arbiter of what a community is. A community is all of us, and all voices matter. We matter. And I thank you for the programming that you've done. I thank you for standing up for all of us. That's all.
Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Khaki Porch. I'm a mom. I grew up in Oklahoma City and raised my children here. We all are library card carriers, and we have enjoyed the library system for decades. When my kids were little, they would come to the library with their grandparents and pick out books. And not only is it a great resource for free reading materials, but we've also enjoyed the various programs offered by the library system. I remember bringing my kiddos to a performance of belly dancers, and it was so fun. I also had the opportunity to see Mongolian throat singers because it was programmed to the library. I never would have been able to experience that without the library, and I'm grateful. Recently, the library, as it's been discussed, offered Pride programming. I thought it was wonderful. As a homeowner in Oklahoma County and a taxpayer, I am so grateful for the always evolving and dynamic programming that the library has to offer. In closing, I want to personally thank the Metropolitan Library Commission for being strong stewards of our tax dollars, my tax dollars, and for being so inclusive in their programming. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Aaron Edwards, resident of Edmond, and thank you for the time to address. As the father of a gay son, I appreciate the actions that have been taken to provide education to the general public about the LGBTQ community. I work with parents and young people in the community that have been ostracized by family, churches, and community. Last month, you provided my friends and family a safe space. By providing this education, libraries gave many families a place to come to learn about a new authenticity they've recently found about their child or family member. Libraries are neutral sites where people can explore on their own outside of the scrutiny of the others. It's extremely expensive to purchase and comb through all the resources needed to educate yourself on any topic, and libraries should do all they can to make these resources accessible. Rights are infringed upon regularly. Safe public spaces like our libraries are crucial. Thank you for being strong enough to highlight the needs and provide education to support our LGBTQ community. I hope that in the future, those that see our LGBT community negatively will take the opportunity to use future programs you provide to gain a stronger understanding of the LGBTQ. Our LGBTQ friends and family are productive citizens of the state and our communities where libraries exist. Please don't allow the doors to shut on them. They see that at home and in their communities often enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Julie Dwyer. I am a lifetime resident of Oklahoma, currently residing in Norman. I wanted to come and thank you today for your display during Pride Month. My son, who's here with me today, is a member of the LGBT community. He was able to come in and pick out a book during the month of June that was written by a gay author who also is a resident of Oklahoma. I have friends whose children are questioning, and they were able to come to the library and find books that educated them on what their children might be going through. Because of this, you are helping facilitate stronger family bonds so that parents can be better parents, so that children do not feel alone and isolated. LGBT youth are 120% more likely to attempt or consider self-harm because of exclusion at home or in the community. Imagine that child walking in the door of a library and seeing a display of books written about their community, by their community, and for their community. Your display could literally save lives. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm also a retired public school teacher, and I'm going to skip part of my lesson plan here. But I have to say it is not acceptable for a government agency to address the matter of human sexuality to children. These conversations belong to the home and to the church, not the government. Current summer slogans are welcome. This curriculum is not welcoming to everyone. It is excluded. The LGBTQ curriculum exposes all all children to this lifestyle is contrary to what the majority of Oklahomans believe to be acceptable and beneficial. It's making many children and parents feel angry and unwelcome. The indoctrination program is unacceptable, and the taxpayer-supported library system has stepped out of line. You have stepped into the home and into our families. Please return these valuable resources to educating our community about core curriculum, math, reading, science, and social studies, rather than attempting to indoctrinate the innocent into an alternative lifestyle.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Hannah Royce. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I'm the president of the Oklahoma City Pride Alliance. Firstly, I'd like to start my notes by giving gratitude for the Metropolitan Libraries for their inclusive efforts during June, which is known as Pride Month around the world. Our organization publicized an official statement of support last night across our social media channels, and as I walked into the meeting today, our Instagram post alone had over 800 likes. I've emailed it on behalf of our organization to be passed along to you all. Now, taking off my president of the Pride Alliance hat, I'd like to say that it is important to note that Pride events are dynamic. With so many notes being played at once, a degree of dissonance can always be expected. And as most of us are fully aware and has been stated here today, we live in a predominantly Christian state, where at 23rd and Lincoln, this theology and religion is sharpened as a weapon to be used against our community. To liken and diminish our community to a choice about sexual preference is simply demeaning, and it's a farce. Pride is about culture, history, and more importantly, it's about acknowledging and shedding light on the very real hate crimes and the realities that our community faces the other 365 days of the year. We should be more worried about our kids being exposed to demonstrations of sexism, racism, ableism, and violence. Because every day,
Time. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
My name is David Mountford. You'll find her before. Sorry, my tongue wasn't exactly kind. I picked this book up at a local library. And because I grew up in a small town Southern Baptist church, material that was gave me was taken away from me and thrown away. I was able to pick this up at my local library, and it showed two guys in a relationship on suing. And I looked closer, one was brown like me. And I have to say thank you so much for being brave enough to celebrate Pride, because that's what Pride means to me, is that we're in a 2021, and we don't have to work, we can work like this, because when I grew up, kids were killing themselves because they got bullied. I don't know if y'all remember that, the 2000s, 2010s, they would literally be bullied enough by their church, by their school, and they'd go hang themselves in their parents' closets and be found, and it is horrible. The fact of the matter is, I'm 32 years old, and this is the first time I've seen a book like this at my local public library that I paid for through rent, my property taxes. This is how it got better. Do y'all remember that slogan? Do any of y'all remember that slogan? It gets better. The songs, the dances we did to make sure teenagers can see a light. They don't have to wait until they go to college to be accepted. I grew up here.
Time. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ryan. I'd just like to start off by saying, number one, I'm here to express gratitude to library staff especially, but also to the commission for the Pride program. Secondly, I'd just like to start by, well, pointing out, boy, it really doesn't take much for people who support, liberty and freedom to suddenly say we can only make people more free if we curtail those freedoms, if we begin to censor. That's the real issue here. We have people in our own community that are suppressing information and curtailing intellectual freedom. That is vile. I want to read something from a document, the American Library Association's Freedom to Read statement, which was adopted by this very body in 1973. We believe that free communication is essential to the preservation of a free society and a creative culture. We believe that these pressures towards conformity present the danger of limiting the range and variety of inquiry and expression on which our democracy and our culture depend. We believe that every American community must jealously guard the freedom to publish and to circulate in order to preserve its own freedom to read. We believe that publishers and librarians have a profound responsibility to give validity to that freedom to read by making it possible for the readers to choose freely from a variety of offerings. The freedom to read is guaranteed by the Constitution. Those with faith in free men will stand firm on these constitutional guarantees of essential rights and will exercise the responsibilities that accompany these rights. We cannot allow the evil, the banal evil.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you to our 10 speakers today. 3.1 Executive Director's Report. Larry?
Yes. My report was distributed to the commission. I've got some updates that I will be sharing with you. But at this moment, I wanted to give you a quick update on the customer feedback that we've been getting on this particular issue. We've received in total 225 emails at this point. 43 were statements of concern, and 182 were statements of support. We received a variety of phone calls. We have not tracked all the phone calls. We had calls that came before we really realized it was going to be something that we needed to have some sort of documentation for. So I can't give you an exact number of phone calls that we've received, but we have taken many calls. We have information that's been shared on social media. I just want to give a quick synopsis. This was something that was put up. It was planned well in advance. It was clearly delineated what it was. It was a part of our programming for the month. It was an optional link that was provided in the Facebook page. It wasn't something that you had to go through in order to get to something. So it was something that was there for the public to utilize or ignore as they feel fit. It is not the library's role to make advocacy. It is the library's role to provide information and let the customers make their own decisions about what they do with that information and what that information means to them. So for example, we apply the same principle when we talk about voting. When we give out voters information, we give you the link to the website or we give you the voter application card. We don't tell you how to vote. We don't tell you which party to register for. We don't tell you what issues are important. You determine that. And in this particular subject, as well as we do with many of our other programming, African American History Month, Asian History Month, Veterans Day, any of the other programs that we do during the course of the year, we make information available to the public. And it's up to the public to take that in whatever way they see fit and bring about their own value of what that means to them. And that's what we have done in this particular issue. It's what we do with all of our issues. We represent an entire community, not just the parts of communities that certain people like or don't like. We represent the community. And so there is something that occurs through the course of the year that speaks to each and every part of the community. We try to ensure that that is the case. We always can do better because it's a very diverse community we represent. But we do try to give a wide representative amount of programming and information across the spectrum so that people can make up their own minds about issues that are pertinent to what they do. So that is just kind of a quick update of where we are with that. If there are any other questions about my executive director report, I'm happy to answer.
Excuse me, Mac, would you mind, I forgot to remind commissioners, would you go to the microphone, please, because we are recording? Thank you. Thank you for doing that with a smile.
Larry, the phone calls you got, Did we respond to them all? Did we actually take them or did they?
All phone calls were responded to. Everyone was acknowledged. Everyone who sent an email to the commission was given a response, thanking them for their input. And everything was acknowledged. It didn't matter what opinion was expressed. Everything was acknowledged.
There was a human being on the other line.
There was a human being.
All right,
I was a lot of it.
all right, that's all I wanted to know.
And in fact, we have to give kudos to our executive director. He responded to every email within 24 hours. Yeah.
Were there any other questions for my report?
Any other questions?
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Larry. Okay, 4.1, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the consent docket, items 4.1 to 4.5. Nancy moved. Who made the second? Was that you, Brian? Second by Brian Alford. Any questions about any of these items? Nancy, would you go to the microphone, please? Thank you.
The insurance broker issue represented a pretty significant change historically. I'm not questioning it. I just think it might be worth a little bit more explanation about the difference in what we're getting this time versus what we've been doing.
Okay.
Okay. Is Sharice here?
No, she is visiting, or she's attending virtually.
Sharice
Oh, she is
here?
back there.
Oh,
Thank you.
Come on down,
My
Sharice.
apologies, Sharice.
You'd think I'd recognize you by now in a mask. She was hiding.
Yes, it was brought to us last time that we went out to bid for the insurance services, that we had done that along with the insurance broker services, as well as the insurance offerings themselves. And that limited based on the ability for other brokers to, because we have a broker of record, it was difficult for other brokers to compete. So when we did the broker services this time, we separated the broker services from the insurance premiums. And so we just went out to bid for broker services. I think we received 7, of which we considered 2. The lowest bid didn't suit our needs. It wasn't a firm that got the breadth of the services that we were looking for. The 2 lowest bids we both interviewed, and based upon the offerings and the service that could be provided, we went with a slightly higher bid.
Questions for Sharice?
It's in Sherika. That's who we went with. I think Tom Caraway is the partner.
Did we notify Steve Payne and the
Yes.
other? Okay,
Yeah, we've been communicating with him throughout.
okay.
We recognize all the years of service that Steve has offered us, and he's done a great job. We had no complaints with his service at all.
Yeah, like decades of service.
Decades of service.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
and-
can you repeat her question, please?
Oh, she's asking about the financial report in this month's packet. We excluded the statement of position, the statement of revenues, and the statement of expenses because this is our June 30th is our fiscal year end, and we have a lot of adjustments to make at year end to get those closer to accurate. So those weren't ready by the time they need to be in the commission packet, so those will be in next month's packet.
Thank you. Good question, Beth. Thank you. Any other questions for Sharice? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Maria, call roll.
Anthony? Yes. Bertram? Yes. Edmondson? Yes. Fletcher? Yes. Parrot? Yes. Vaughn? Yes. Michaela? Yes. McDaniel?
Yes.
Belle?
Yes.
Rubio? Yes. Gamble?
Yes.
Shockley? Smith? Yes. Solon? Tucker? Yes. Woodruff? Deep? Yes. Kane?
Yes. Thank you. 5.1, discussion, consideration, possible action, executive committee minutes from our July 7th meeting. Anyone have any questions? Okay, they stand approved as read. 6.1, Larry, our library usage report, and then why don't you go into 6.2, the furniture and equipment inventory report.
Thank you. As you can see from our usage report, our numbers are returning more towards our pre-COVID situation, where our numbers are getting closer to where we were before COVID. They've substantially improved over the last 2 months now that we've fully reopened and re-engaged. We are still averaging, last year we were averaging about 23.6 attendees per event for a program, and this year we're 20.89, so we're off just a little bit, but it's to be expected. We're still getting the public aware of us being here and available and getting information out. So that's improving. Our computer sessions are down a bit, but that's because we've had to take basically half of the stations offline due to social distancing to make sure that we can keep everyone safe. So that kind of cuts into the computer usage a little bit. We are looking at finding ways to maximize our computer access as much as possible, because that is something that really is quite well used by the community. Our computer sessions are trending upward as more and more people find out we're here. We have more people coming back. We have locations now that have waiting lines for some of our computers at times during the course of the day. Our social media interactions are up. And does anybody have any other questions? Okay, moving on.
Jennifer, would you mind going to the microphone? Don't be sighing it. Did you see that? Did you roll your eyes at me?
It's not a big deal. The computers that are offline, because I know we rotate out machinery or whatever it is on regular intervals, will those be, I mean, are we going to have to pay for equipment on a regular basis that we only used half the time? Does that make sense? Or
Right.
are we extending their lives?
We're able to extend the lives of that equipment.
Great question. Thank you, Jennifer.
Right. It's all equipment that we own, and we're just making as maximum use of it. And being that we're not using it as much, then it should be able to last longer. Okay. 6.2 was the annual furniture and equipment inventory report. And I would like to note that no significant discrepancies were noted on $7.68 million worth of inventory. Any questions related to the inventory?
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. Okay, 7.1, announcement of nominating committee. So as all of our commissioners know, today is Dennis's Shockley's last meeting with us. So not only was he a commissioner, he was our dispersing agent. So Dennis, we're going to invite you back this fall when we're back out touring libraries for our monthly meeting and give you your certificate and thank you properly then. But we appreciate all your years on the commission and your role as a dispersing agent. So now we need to appoint somebody. And so the nominating committee will meet over the next month. And so Judy Smith is chair and her committee is Jennifer Edmondson and Susan Tucker. So thank you to the three of you for getting that. We appreciate it. 7.2, any comments from commissioners? Can you go to the microphone, please?
What is our timeline to be back in the branches?
In terms of meetings?
Yeah.
We have some locations that we probably could be at as early as September.
We're still
Some of our meeting rooms are still being used to store furniture because we've had to remove furniture to maintain social distancing. So some of in our smaller locations, we also have, because of smaller staff areas in certain locations, we've had to use the meeting room for like the break room and places where for for staff to go. So there's a handful of locations that wouldn't have their meeting room available, but we do have some that do have that meeting room capacity. So we could go back to meeting at other locations as early as September.
I know, Larry and I were talking about that, and he knows how important it is to all of us to keep our rotation going throughout our larger libraries. That's really a big part of who we are, is getting out to see all of our different spaces. So great question, Brian. Thank you. Okay, our next meeting then, it's a week later than normal. It's August 26th. Probably will be in here, but Maria will let all of us know, and Edmond will be our host. And we're adjourned. Thank you very much for being here.